Now, there's no doubt about it that when we look back at the sequel trilogy, we do know that Kathleen Kennedy was the one directly responsible for mishandling The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker as a film, and beyond that, we also saw how she was directly responsible for the soloist Star Wars story box office results. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Disney Star Wars is that yes, we obviously know that they are working on over a dozen Star Wars projects as we speak for Disney+. This, of course, involves shows like Andor, Ahsoka, Kenobi, and that's just to name a few. Both Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are doing everything in their power to really bring Star Wars back on track. That is their main mission right now, in order to regulate the Star Wars franchise, to bring it back to the way it used to be before 2012. What they want to do, and what they are doing, by the way, they are doing this, is that they are bringing back a lot of Star Wars legends within the Mandalorian universe, as well as the entire universe that's coming our way for Star Wars. So that's one thing to look forward to, and whether or not Jon and Dave can pull it off, well, it all depends on how dedicated they really are, and that's exactly why they're trying to dedicate themselves. So with that being said, of course, what's really intriguing all has to do with Jon Favreau and what's been going on since the Gina Carano situation when she got fired from the Mandalorian series. You know, ever since that she got fired, a lot of fans have been up in arms, canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions, canceling their Disney vacations, and even selling a lot of their Disney merchandise, especially when it comes to Star Wars. So we've seen the shift of Disney supporters no longer being supporters because of that one big decision by Lucasfilm. And it wasn't just because of what they did, it's how they did it. Over social media, through Twitter trends, and more. So with that being said, now that The Mandalorian Season 3 and 4 is currently in the works and being worked on back to back, both Disney and Lucasfilm are busy developing their new Star Wars universe moving ahead. It's described that Dave Filoni is also busy with the Ahsoka Tano series, which is set to introduce Ezra Bridger. However, behind the scenes, it's best noted that Jon Favreau is making major changes to The Mandalorian Season 3 in order to regulate the TV series and make it the best season so far. Now, it's described that recently creator Jon Favreau had fired a Star Wars director that was set to direct an entire episode dedicated to Luke Skywalker for The Mandalorian Season 3, where the main reason behind the firing by Jon Favreau was that this director began to side with Kathleen Kennedy's agenda and did not want Luke Skywalker to have too much action in the episode that they planned to begin filming this fall. Now, Jon Favreau and this unknown director, who had previously worked on other TV shows and films before in the past, fell into creative differences lately after the Gina Carano firing, and that since she got fired, this one writer and now director began to side with Kathleen Kennedy. We talked about this writer about last week or so, and disagree with Jon Favreau's approach to the new Star Wars universe. The director is said to have wanted Luke to be more like how he was in the sequel trilogy and felt that Jon Favreau did the wrong thing in the Season 2 finale with Luke and would often label that version of Luke as a superhero. This director wanted Luke to be the hermit, lonely, and heartbroken Luke that fans saw in The Last Jedi, and that Jon Favreau did not want this to happen ever again and decided to let him go of course, and fire him, and that Kathleen Kennedy is not happy about this one bit. Now, let me just stop right here, because this is a very interesting phase that we're in right now of Jon Favreau letting people go. After all, he does have a lot of control over who he hires and fires for the Mandalorian series, because this is his show. In fact, it's the show that he pitched to Lucasfilm, and he got it. You know, we do know that in the beginning stages, Kathleen Kennedy tried to make it a Boba Fett TV show. Jon Favreau did not want that, and he bargained with her. He actually said, alright, I'll put Boba Fett in there, but it's not going to be a show just for him in the beginning. We'll eventually get to that. And that's exactly what the Book of Boba Fett is. Now, here's the thing about Jon Favreau, is that this writer, alright, and director that got fired so recently, is that since Gina Carano got fired, these Lucasfilm creators kind of turned and sided with Kathleen Kennedy. It made them have a change of heart and kind of shifted away from Jon Favreau's vision. And I don't know why people are able to just switch that easily like that. My heart tells me that this writer and this director never really fully believed in what Favreau was doing from the very beginning then for season 3, and that Kathleen Kennedy firing Carano was just their chance to hop on board and side with Kathleen Kennedy to maybe perhaps, protect their jobs or something around those lines. It's very possible. But the fact that this director wanted Luke to be the hermit, lonely, heartbroken version of Luke, the very depressed version of Luke that's very much not even associated with what we saw in the original trilogy, that would have been a disaster for season 3, and how this director feels that Jon made a big mistake in season 2's finale by making Luke a quote-unquote superhero. This is once again something that you would hear from Kathleen Kennedy, and it makes sense as to why he sided with Kathleen Kennedy. Now, the thing about Luke Skywalker is that obviously he's young at this point in time. The Mandalorian series is only a couple of years after Return of the Jedi. Let's not forget about that. I believe it's like 3 to 5 years. It's not really all that much. And Luke is pretty much either close to 30 or at 30 years old by the time we hit the Mandalorian series. So he's a young character. Why would we make him a heartbroken, lonely, depressed version of Luke that we saw in the sequel trilogy, which was a direct cause of what happened to Ben Solo? Why would you make him that otherwise, right? Because this all takes place before when that happens. So, obviously, this is just to push an agenda. This is just to kind of make Luke a powerless figure. That's what they wanted. You guys remember that little shred of footage that we got a couple years ago where there was a little picture in the Lucasfilm office, I believe it was, and you had a big X, like a big cross mark over Luke Skywalker's face? What was that? Was that a coincidence? I don't think so. I think that was their plan to kind of just signal no Luke in this, no Luke in that. That was their overall plan. That's why we saw the printed picture of Luke with the X, or the name, whatever it was, with the X going over it. It was a while ago, so I'm trying to refresh my memory here. But I digress. The thing about this is that we obviously also know that Jon Favreau hopped on Star Wars because he was very upset with what happened with The Last Jedi. Make no mistake, Jon Favreau had a very big problem with Rian Johnson's approach to Star Wars. He did not like what he did to the character of Luke. Listen, I know that new characters are great and all, but there's no denying the fact that characters like Luke and Vader are the foundation of Star Wars. They are. Period. The end. It's why we're seeing Luke in The Mandalorian. It's why we're seeing Darth Vader in the Kenobi series. These two characters are the foundation of Star Wars, and Jon Favreau realizes that. That's why we have Luke becoming a big figure in Mandalorian Season 3 and 4, once again, being worked on back to back. It's going to be a very interesting way to do things. And we also got Vader coming back in the Kenobi series next year. They're going to begin filming those scenes with Vader during the end of spring and summer of this year. So, like I've said, I think that obviously Kathleen Kennedy has a problem with the fans. She's one that said that there is no source material. I think that Jon Favreau made an excellent call here. He'll easily find another director to take over that episode to handle Luke. That's going to be in pretty much the entirety of this episode. Most likely has to do with Grogu's training. That most likely is what it is. It's going to most likely take place in the very beginning of the show because they're very early on in writing this TV show right now before they begin filming this fall. Now, there were some setbacks, of course, because of Gina Carano's firing. They had to do some rewrites, taking Cara Dune out there, putting a new character in. So, like I've said before in the past, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.